there were two sides, the Russians on one side and the Western Allies on the other. Even among the Western Allies, there were two sides, the British, Germans and the Americans on one side and the Swedes on the other. The British and the Germans flew planes like the Panavia Tornado, drove tanks like the Challenger and the Leopard, which looked quite normal. But the Swedes decided, hey, let's do it a little differently. So they made a tank with an immovable turret. And then they made a jet fighter called the Viggen that could land and take off from your own backyard. This quirky traits of the Swedes still exist today. And the best example of it is this, Volvo's new XC60. The XC60 is quite swell looking. In fact, it feels more IKEA than Volvo. Notice this really prominent waistline and the way the curved roof meets this waistline. But the best part about this car and the most distinctive part are these tail lamps. Very, very stylish in fact. The quirkiness of the XC60 even extends to these interiors. Notice this floating center console, unique to the segment. It does not have a system like an MMI or an iDrive, but lots of large buttons to tell you how to access the different functions of the infotainment system. This yellow color is an optional extra, which may look loud on the camera, but looks quite nice in reality. Flash and Audi go together, and the Q5 is no different. Think about the big brother Q7 in a slightly smaller package, and that is the Q5 for you. A proper 5-seater, just like the XC60, but with a little more dash of flash. If the Volvo is more Depeche Mode, the Audi Q5 is more Armin van Buuren. It's got lots of LEDs, just like the Q7, a nice big front grille, and a very aggressive stance. But the Volvo somehow feels more stylish. The Audi Q5 is probably a bit more in your face in comparison. Like the Volvo XC60, the Audi Q5 is quite well loaded. But where the XC60 focuses more on safety equipment, the Audi focuses more on creature comforts. The MMI system here is quite a nice system where you can access everything as far as infotainment is concerned with just one press of a key. And the overall dashboard is quite stylish, and in typical Audi tradition, it is well built and the buttons have a nice tactile feel to it. In terms of overall space, the XC60 probably feels a little more comfortable. The seats are better contoured, and for long distances just feel that extra huggable. After the two crossovers, there is this, the Land Rover Freelander 2. The reason why it has the Land Rover badging is because it can actually off-road. It's got a terrain response system that is, let me put it very simply, fantastic when it comes to off-roading. But there's more to the Freelander 2 than just its off-road ability. Let's go find out what it's all about. Where the Audi and the Volvo look stylish, this one looks butch. Notice the squared jaw profile of the grille, the rectangular headlamps and the overall car, and you'd expect it to be at a local pub, while the Q5 and the XC60 will be busy partying at a high-end club. The interiors of the Freelander might not be quite flashy, but it is quite purposeful. You don't get an infotainment system or a GPS system like on the XC60 or the Q5, but what you get are very nice large buttons which are easy to use. And this, the terrain response system that splits torque between the front and rear wheels depending on what kind of surface you are on. These seats are quite comfortable for most purposes. The rear seats might be a little less on room, but feel quite alright on the whole. Cold War is over and there is a winner. But which one of these is it? Is it the German? Is it the Swede? Or is it the Brit? The Audi Q5 has nice punchy engines, both the petrol and the diesel engines. On the inside it feels very plush and it is quite well loaded. But dynamically it feels flawed. Moreover, for its price, it's too close to the Q7 for comfort. And unfortunately today, it has to take the last place. The Freelander is competitively priced, just starting at over Rs 33 lakh. It also is the only one out of these three that's really capable off-road. But it just doesn't feel special enough on the inside, nor on the outside. And it could do with some more kit. So despite being the most practical car in its segment, it has to come down to position number 2. The Swede then wins this Cold War. Why, you ask? Well, look at it. It looks stylish, don't you think? Then it has the best ride and handling setup in its segment. A nice punchy diesel engine, good space on the inside, nice seats, lots of features, lots of safety kit. We wish it could have done better at off-roading, but apart from that, there's no other reason why it shouldn't be crowned the best crossover in its segment. So ladies and gentlemen, this, the Volvo XC60, is the best buy you're looking at in its segment. So this is the German answer to all things SUV, the Q5 crossover.